Select Board meeting, December 10th, 2019. In attendance, Chairman Fox, Vice Chairman Moglen, Mr.
Look at
Deedy,
me, I'm not
Mr.
vice
Steinhardt, and Mrs. Pendleton.
Good evening. Thank you for coming to the Select Board meeting for Tuesday, December 10th, 2019. The first thing we have is public comments. It gives anybody that's not on the agenda an opportunity to make a statement to the board. If you'd like to make a statement, I ask you please stand and state your name and address. Is there anyone here at this time that would like to make a public statement? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say I was driving into work this morning and I want to comment the Southwick 250 that the flags going through town are really well done and a nice celebration and a nice dedication to your town.
Thank you. Right. Fill in that blank name and address. You know.
Yeah.
It's Power Miller.
I think she was the one trying to sponsor a flag. She was looking to donate. You might want to look her up later. I think that's what I heard her just say is, I didn't get the donate one in time. Where do I make the check out to? Maybe someone heard it differently.
Well, thank you very much for that comment. All right, we have a couple of minutes, so we're going to quickly do a few things before we start the interview process. We're going to have a joint meeting with the Southwick Regional School Committee members. To acknowledge payroll warrant number 2012 dated 12/9/19 in the amount of $264,302.67. I also need a motion to approve the minutes of December 3rd, 2019 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in
It would
favor?
be as amended though, because it was submitted before.
Oh, it was submitted before?
There's one more. I'll send it down.
Okay,
As amended.
okay.
And there's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, okay. All right, well, we're not going to the first thing in the action folder because that's going to take about 45 minutes.
Now it's gonna take you some time to sign these.
Okay, that's a bond issue and it's going to be a long process. So, do we have the candidates here? Can we begin a little early, is that okay? Okay. If the Southwick members would like to come forward and take a seat. There you go. All right. I don't know who set it up, but apparently we have 3 candidates. And the first candidate to be interviewed would be Maria. So I would ask the other 2 candidates if they're present, do we have a chair out there?
Yeah, there's a couple right outside the door.
Okay, okay. And it's not the naughty chair, it's just a regular chair.
How close is it to the trees? If it's not close to the trees. it's
Okay,
not.
that's it, okay. All right, so we have, Maria, if you want to come up, we have a set of 7 questions that we will be asking. And then at the completion of that, normally if it's acceptable to you guys, we normally let the individual make any statement or ask any questions. Is that agreeable? Okay. All right. I will begin. Why are you interested in becoming a member of the Southwick Tolland Granville Regional School District Regional School Committee?
I've been part of the committee in the past. I am an advocate for the education of our children. Currently, I've been out of the school committee for about 1.5 years. I'm always been interested. It's a passion of mine to be able to make the decisions that will help our kids.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Moglen, you want to go next, and we'll go
Sure.
to Jess after you?
What issues in education are of particular interest to you in the Southwick Tolland Granville Regional School District?
Budget. We have to be fiscally responsible to keep all the programs that we have afloat and maybe create new ones.
Jess?
What experience, skills do you bring that qualify you for this position?
I'm currently the Human Resources Coordinator at American International College. I have about 5 years' experience in the HR. Definitely between AIC and prior to that was Big Y. I have a lot of knowledge in terms of budgets, payroll. We gotta make sure that our people are able to be cared from benefits all the way to the simplest things as customer service. We are, as the school committee members, we are here to serve our school, and I think my customer service skills and my HR background will bring something else different to the table.
Chelsea?
What previous committee experience do you have, and how will it benefit the Southwick Talon Granville Regional School District?
I was in the school committee for 3 years. I served in the policy subcommittee. Before that, I've been part of the in-town SRC, the Southwick Rec Center program and the board of directors, also as a vice president of the basketball program. I think I have a lot of volunteerism hours put into this town, and I think that at the end of the day, we all are volunteers at heart.
Thanks.
How do you keep abreast of issues that are currently facing the Southwick Talon Granville Regional School District?
I read your minutes.
She's the one.
I might be the only one.
I'd love to see the views on the audio or the audio count of who listens.
You may not.
That's not. It's not. We're not going to make money off YouTube from putting that up there.
No. Bloopers maybe. No.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
So, what is your understanding of the role that the school committee plays in the governance of the district?
We are the keepers of the policies. We are the keepers of the safety of our children. We are the keepers of the district as a whole.
Okay. What type of commitment will you make?
It's a time commitment. So definitely it's every other Wednesday. I'm accustomed to making a commitment and being faithful to that commitment. I do everything with passion, so I put my name in the hat, and it was a big decision, so not afraid of commitment.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any statement or questions you'd like to?
I appreciate the time that you have given me tonight to go around and answer your questions. I've been an advocate of our school district for a very long time. I have two children currently in the school district. My oldest graduated and is at Bowdoin College up in Maine. But I still have a 7th grader and a 9th grader in the system, so I'm still involved and invested. So I would love to come back and be part of this great group of people that will make decisions for the benefit of not just my children, but every kid in the Southwick district.
Very good. Thank you, Maria. Everybody satisfied? Okay. Thank you, miss.
You want me to step out? Or?
Please.
Okay.
Please. And again, it's not the naughty chair.
No. Try not to sit in the naughty chair.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Ryan Corobovo
Okay.
sent me an email before the meeting withdrawing.
Okay. So we're down to
to
two.
Yep.
So we can take Kim. And how does Kim pronounce her last name? Perron? Is that correct?
Brian's not here, so.
Oh, could you ask Kim in?
Yep.
And did we get enough interview sheets? Or I didn't take
I
them.
took, here, I got an extra one now because I took 3.
Okay. Okay, anybody else?
Sure.
Joe needs?
I rolled a lot on the first one.
Okay.
I think you said-
Anybody else? Everybody set? Okay. Kim, so I don't mispronounce your last name.
Sure. Perot.
Perone. I was correct. Okay, good guess. All right, we have 7 questions that we're going to ask you. At the end of that, if you'd like to make any statement, feel free. Any questions, that's your time to do it. So I'm going to begin. Why are you interested in becoming a member of the Southwick Tolland Granville Regional School District Regional School Committee?
Well, I recently moved to Southwick over the summer, actually, and I have a significant background working in education reform in Massachusetts and nationally. I currently am the owner and president of SchoolWorks, which is a national education consulting company that, because of my relocation here to Southwick, I relocated the office to the Southwick Crossing Plaza. So I'm in the area quite a bit, and I would really love to take everything that I've learned from a national perspective and be able to work within my own community to support student learning and well-being here for the students in the regional school district. So I'm really excited to, have a positive impact in my community.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Moglen.
What issues in education are of particular interest to you in the Southwick Tolland Granville Regional School District?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. I have been taking a long look at a lot of the publicly available documents around what the school district is working on, as well as some of the kind of accountability measures and the performance of the students within the district. So. In particular, I'd really love to support the superintendent and the teachers and all the adults within the district in implementing the strategic plan. I think that there are a lot of very high impact initiatives outlined within that plan. And I'd love to hear, I'm very curious, and I'd love to hear more about not only how the implementation of those initiatives are going, but what the effectiveness of them has been or will be over time. And just, serve as a thought partner and supporter around making adjustments to that plan, all in support of student learning. I know that the 3 of you were not present at the meeting earlier today, and unfortunately I came in a few minutes late, but I heard some of the principals' discussion around the current performance at students at Powder Mill, and had an opportunity to quickly look at her data slides that she presented. Around student outcomes, and we did see some I think jumps in student performance, and I think all of that is really great and worth celebrating. When I look at that data, what I also see are the large majority of students are not meeting or exceeding state standards in English language arts and mathematics in the district, and I think that Southwick is a place where that shouldn't be the case. There's a lot of capacity here. I think that this is a community that has always prided itself on entrepreneurship, obviously the success of the agricultural community here, the recreational community, but we're living in a world where times and skills are changing, and the schools need to adapt in order to help students prepare to be successful in the world in which we're living. So I think that the fact that we're seeing the limited performance at grades 3 to 8 in particular is an indicator of kind of the outcomes and the expectations for students at that age level changing. So I think if those issues aren't addressed, if there isn't strategic intervention done for kids in the elementary level, then you're going to continue to see declining results at the high school level over time, and I would really hate to see that happen. So I think that's a primary concern in particular. I also wanted to point out, just because I didn't see this in the data that was presented this evening, I think the district also needs to, and I'm sure they're doing this, it just maybe didn't come out in today's discussion, really needs to pay attention to what is happening with all students at the district. So not just looking at student performance in the aggregate, but really taking a deep look at how high need students, English language learners, and for example, students with disabilities are performing on those state tests. So when I looked at the data earlier today, just to give you an example, English language learners at Powder Mill, only 7% of them are meeting or exceeding state standards on your state assessments. It's 10% at the district level. With regard to math, no students at Powder Mill are meeting or exceeding state standards should be of particular concern to this community. It's 5% at the district level. Students with disabilities, similar but slightly better results. 12% of students in English language arts at Paper Mill are meeting or exceeding. So when I hear that, as someone who works nationally and directly as a former employee of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, I see that 88% of your students are not meeting or exceeding state standards in English language arts. 88% of your kids can't read or write at grade level. That should be a big concern for this community moving forward. So when you ask me what my particular interest is, what my concerns are, that would be something that I would ask a lot of questions about, and really frankly think creatively with the school committee about how to support the superintendent and the school leaders, the instructional leaders within the building, to make sure they're getting the resources and support that they need to help the teachers help kids learn better.
How many meetings have you gone to over there? Just the only one, or?
No,
I hate to see you do
my-
4. I'd be scared.
No, I just went to one today.
That's holy shit.
But you have to understand, this is my profession. This
No,
is
I
what
understand.
do
That's
for a
your passion.
living.
I get
yeah,
it.
and it is a passion of
Yeah.
mine, and this is why I think I
comes
have
through.
something to lend
Wow.
to the community. Yeah.
Okay.
What
I
experience
couldn't
skills do you bring that qualify you for this position?
Well, just really quickly, I have an undergraduate degree. I was in secondary education in Spanish. I taught Spanish at Westfield High School many years ago. I eventually went out to Boston and taught high school Spanish at a charter high school in Boston for many years. That particular organization, that charter school, had a focus on public accountability, civic engagement, teacher leadership, and a post-secondary success for its students. So while I was a teacher there, I also was elected as a faculty representative to the school's board of trustees and served as a faculty rep on that public board. As you know, charter schools they function like traditional school committees. I also served on the budget committee while I was there. Moving on from there, I got my principal certification at Harvard Graduate School of Education in 2004. I've since let that lapse because I've done other things in my career, including participated in accountability work at the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, where I worked in the charter school office for a number of years, and the State University of New York's Charter Schools Institute, where I worked directly for the State University of New York's Board of Trustees and overseeing all of New York State's charter schools. Upon leaving SUNY, I returned to the Boston area and started my work, my consulting work. The majority of the work I started at was with Schoolworks. Schoolworks has been around since 1998 and works with multiple state departments of education and city school districts, overseeing the quality of their schools from a qualitative perspective. So Ms. Woolard this afternoon or this evening talked a little bit about the review that the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education recently did across the district. I think that was today, you said? Yes. So I do a lot of that work nationally. Some of Schoolworks clients include Denver Public Schools, Cleveland Metropolitan School District, Colorado Department of Education. We oversee all of the schools that are under state review in Colorado, and I could go on and on. If you're interested, you could take a look at our website. But so I have a deep background in school performance accountability and school improvement. So my organization then works with schools, on the other hand, to do that deep improvement work where we provide planning supports for schools and districts around the country, school improvement planning supports. We're a priority partner in multiple states, so schools that are on watch or accountability watch, for example, in Illinois, Massachusetts, Utah, number of states, we are like a vetted turnaround partner for them, where we provide instructional support, leadership coaching, et cetera, for all of their schools that are under improvement. And then on top of that, I returned to the Boston area and served on that schools board, where I was a faculty member for 9 years, three-year terms, until I turned out as a public board member. So I'm familiar with how public boards operate and all of the duties and responsibilities associated with that.
Chelsea?
You may have covered this, but what previous committee experience do you have, and how will it benefit the Southwick Granville Regional School District?
Sure. So when I was on City on a Hill's board, participated in a number of committees. I think I mentioned the finance committee, so I did a lot of budgeting work, which was really interesting because I've had the opportunity to do that work from a teacher perspective and think about what teachers need in order to do their job really well, but also see the leadership side of it, the difficult decisions that need to be made, the priorities that need to be made. And then on the board side, you can't fund everything, so you have to make choices that ultimately align with your strategic plan and your goals. So that's the finance committee. I've participated on the academic oversight committee for the 3 schools that I was on the board of in Boston. So for many, many years, again, obviously accountability in school performance, student outcomes is something that I'm particularly interested in. Strategic planning committees, ad hoc committees here and there for various initiatives. If there's anything in particular that you're interested in, let me know. I mean, obviously, I've contributed to CEO, superintendent evaluation committees.
How do you keep abreast of issues that are currently facing the Southwick Talon Granville Regional School District?
Well, from a state perspective, I'm very aware of what the state's initiatives are. As I mentioned, we're a turnaround priority partner for the state of Massachusetts. And we're one of 2 organizations that schools and districts can select when they do targeted site visits. Those are for schools that are in need of focused supports or other initiatives. So literally when I tell you I'm in contact with folks at the State Department of Education on a weekly basis, I am, and I have, pretty good relationships with the associate commissioners there as well. So with regard to Southwick, hopefully my conversation tonight has demonstrated to you that I know how to get the information about how the district is operating, what you all are focused on, what your strategic plan is about. Certainly, and that's just through, researching publicly available information. So what I would do if, I were doing this in a professional sense, and what I would do as a school committee member would really start to have the conversations with the superintendent, the leadership, obviously observe schools when it would be appropriate to do that. I'm very respectful of the day-to-day work of schools, and I don't think that it's appropriate for individuals to be walking uninvited through a school or taking precious time away from school administrators or teachers when they have a very difficult job of educating the students. But if it would be appropriate, I would love to be able to get in with the schools and really talk with the folks who are doing the day-to-day hard work and understand what their challenges are, what they feel their strengths are, and learn from a qualitative perspective how they could, what kind of support they need and what we could do from a school committee level to do that.
What is your understanding of the role that the school committee plays in the governance of the district?
Yes, the topic of governance versus management is one of my favorites. So I really understand that leadership's decision, responsibility is to run the district and to run the school buildings. And it's the responsibility of the board to set policy ultimately, to set the long-term strategic direction of the school and the school district, and to provide the resources and support to the district in order to execute on that, but also to evaluate return on investment and evaluate results, and where appropriate, serve as a thought partner to leadership. Perhaps, introduce him or her to resources, etc., that might be available or out there. I also know it's an important role and responsibility to negotiate contracts, large contracts typically, usually there's some threshold on behalf of the district or to sign off on them, including to evaluate and negotiate the contract of the superintendent over time, to recruit, hire, and select that person. Obviously, passing the budget, maintaining and maintaining the financial well-being of the school district is a major responsibility. But ultimately, to make decisions with the best interests of the students in mind.
Okay. What type of commitment will you make? It's the last question.
Yeah.
You have 3 minutes. I got places to be late.
Fair enough. I was told 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah, so what kind of commitment? I mean, I'm obviously going to be at the meetings. I will be at the committee meetings that I'm assigned to and participate in community events as required. Certainly, you know, I'm interested in supporting the school district and however as the needs arise. So, yeah.
You're around.
I'm around.
Okay.
I mean, I live in Noble Steed Crossing, and my office is at Southwick Crossing. I am in town all day. I am a drive away if I need to be at a meeting. It's not like I need to drive in from Springfield. I do travel on occasion, I will say. As I mentioned, we have a lot of clients that are national. So on occasion, I do have to go for a week, but that's few and far between these days. I really only need to go if it's a must-attend event. My staff does most of that work on our behalf at this point.
Wonderful.
Is there any statement that you would like, or any questions you have at this time?
No, I would just simply say that, you know, I grew up in Westfield and I've had an opportunity to do this work from a teacher perspective, from a leadership perspective, from a policy perspective. I've worked in both charter schools and traditional school districts, as well as at state departments of education. And, you know, but ultimately, like, I'm from this area. You know, I grew up in Westfield. But I should say that when I was a kid, I used to work at the Arnold's Tobacco Farm.
Which Arnold?
Feg. No.
I guess we're done then?
We're done.
Welcome to Southwick.
But, you know, I have a history with this town, and I'm
Yeah.
really excited to be a resident here. There was a reason my husband and I chose Southwick over other communities, and I would really love to be able to contribute and volunteer my time in support of the great work that you're doing here.
Okay. All right, we are going to have a
I have one follow-up.
follow-up. Go,
I
shoot.
apologize.
Go ahead.
So
You wrote a question
your-
that wasn't answered?
yeah. Your business
Yes.
has no association with our district,
No,
and
I
no
have no
association with
conflict
the
of
Lower
interest.
Pioneer Valley Collaborative either.
No, at one point in time, our company did subcontract some work as a favor to the Department of Education to the Lower Pioneer Valley Education Collaborative. This was over a year ago. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. Essentially, we had a standing contract with ESSE, and they needed to funnel some money to them, and so I served as an intermediary and subcontracted that work out to them. But that was several years ago. Certainly, I think any existing conflict would certainly be resolved, and it's nothing that we're involved in now. The contract has been completed.
Because our school doesn't suck. If our school sucked, then you'd be knocking on our door through the other avenues, basically.
Well, basically, we work with a lot in Massachusetts. We work with like Chelsea, Lynn, Framingham, Holyoke. Yes, in fact, we were the lead partner for the Peck Community School the first year that Holyoke was placed in receivership.
Yeah.
And so we tend to work with the bottom 5 to 10%. Those targeted site visits that we do them in some districts like Brockton and North Adams, and that are not in an accountability status but are teetering on the edge. Southwick is not one of those districts.
Not there.
So, yeah.
Did you have a follow-up question?
It was tangential to his. I mean, just reading what your company does, there was a perceived that they would potentially be a client, God forbid, or and
Yeah,
if there's
I
a
would
perceived
recuse
conflict
myself,
there.
first of all, from any
I get it.
discussion or contract negotiation with that. And certainly if I am selected, I will contact the department and inform them that I've been selected, just to let them know and see if they had any concern or basically I would have to do a disclosure to them. It wouldn't impact the district, so.
Okay.
Okay,
So we are going to have a discussion. I
Okay.
don't know if we're going to make a decision tonight.
okay,
It'll be up to the group to make that determination. We had 3 candidates, 1 withdrew, so it's 2 candidates.
okay.
So I think we have 2 good candidates. So and I would say this to the other person too, if you're not chosen, I hope we're going to take you at your word. You still want to volunteer and get involved in the community, even though you just came here.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of avenues where you could help. You have a wealth of information,
Absolutely.
knowledge. So,
Southwick 250 is looking for
right.
You
So,
know where to find me.
okay, so
Okay.
thank you very much.
Should I stick around or are
You're
you-
more than welcome
Okay.
because it's an open meeting.
Okay.
So, but we're going to open up the door, and I don't know if Maria is still here. Okay. But, all right. As a group, are we prepared to discuss and make a decision tonight, or what's the general feeling?
Pleasure of the board.
What's that?
What's the pleasure?
I think we could come to a resolution tonight.
Okay.
Two good candidates.
Right. Well, I'll kick it off. I think we got, like I said, I'm being quite honest, we have two very good candidates. I don't know Kim as well as I do Maria. Maria is a former member of the Regional School Board, Southwick member. And full disclosure, she was on the board of directors of the Rec Center, and I was on the board of the Rec Center, so I've worked with Maria. I know that we're right in the budget process, and I would think since this is to fill a vacancy, I would have to give the edge to Maria, because I think she could step right in right now and take charge. So that would be my thought. So if you're looking for a nomination, I would be nominating Maria Sedano.
You get a second on that?
All right.
Second.
That we have a second. Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Kim Perron.
Perone.
Perone, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I just want to keep the conversation going as well, because there's definitely a lot of expertise that we could tap into. Of course, in this role, I've learned that you're really limited to policy, but at the same time, there are other avenues for being helpful, and I really think it's worth discussing.
Okay. We have a second on that? Okay. I think it technically fails because we didn't receive a second. So we have one nominee. It's a roll call vote. I will begin. Russell Fox, yes for Maria.
Doug Mogul, yes for Maria Sedin.
Jess Bolbiga, yes for Maria Sudden.
Yes for Maria Sudden.
Jeff Hool, yes for Maria Sudden.
John Chance, yes for Maria Sedden.
All right.
Joe Didi, yes for me.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
I know I'm just a clerk.
I know, I forgot there. I'm ready to move on. All right, again, thank you, Kim. Very impressive. But Maria, you know the routine. You have to go get sworn in, all that, and we welcome you back as our representative of the regional school committee. Is there any other business that we need to conduct with you, or any
Looks like you have
questions?
a lot of bonds to sign tonight.
Okay.
We'll get out of your way.
We thank you very much. And again, we thank the superintendent for her comments about the 250. Thank you. All right. Everybody have a good holiday if we don't see you. And of course, we'll see you New Year's Eve at Woodland School in the rec center.
Yeah, it's all planned out.
All right, we are back on. The first thing we have here is a vote to award 2019 $9,670,000 in bonds to Raymond James and Associates. So I will now turn this over to the clerk, who will turn it over to the CAO for the reading.
Yes, I would like the CAO to continue on with this, especially the reading.
Okay, these documents have been sent to us with a series of actions that Michelle needs us to go through and handle. And of course, the board should be reminded of what the contents of the bonds are about, which is the water meters, the water pump station, the water line, the roads, the fire trucks, the DPW truck. So that is the extent, and the land acquisition for North Pond, which was a citizen petition.
Which is approximately
That's 1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Right, the total amount that town meeting had voted on in the aggregate was 10.440.
Okay, we did not receive any additional monies after that town meeting vote?
From,
Well, I thought the wording of the article was that it was 1.2 minus any additional funds that were raised and donated to the...
The fundraising aspect of it?
Right.
Yeah, no funds were
Nothing
brought
came
to my
forward.
attention and given to us, so.
Okay, so we didn't receive any additional funds.
No.
Duck, duck, goose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's that part of it. So, the interesting thing to note, because these bonds are also packaged where there's gonna be 20 individual bonds as opposed to doing one of them, because they're gonna be reselling them and marketing, because I think Raymond James is an investment portfolio company, and they're gonna be selling this stuff. So, what we're going to need to do is take a series of votes as your agenda speaks to the issue on, you can see there's a series of actions that are listed there. So, and I believe did you speak to all of those items that were on the agenda?
I think that
Because each one of those.
related votes for the notice of sale and preliminary official statement,
Yep.
votes bonds subject to redemption, authorize SEC continuing disclosures, vote to authorize town treasurer to establish post-insurance federal tax compliance procedures and disclosure procedures with bond counsel assistance, and vote that each select board member and treasurer/town clerk is authorized to take any related action to implement these votes.
Right, okay. So, this goes to the part where the vote of the board has to do, which is 5 or 6 separate votes, and Joe will be certifying this when it's over.
I'll certify them.
So what I'll do is I'll read each vote, and then you'll make a separate motion, second, and unanimous vote.
You got it.
So voted that the sale of $9,670,000 in general obligation municipal purpose loan of 2019 bonds of the town dated December 17, 2019, quote unquote, the bonds to Raymond James and Associates Incorporated at the price of $10,750,064.55 in accrued interest, if any, is hereby approved and confirmed. The bonds shall be payable on December 15th of the years, and in the principal amounts that bear interest as the respective rates as follows. Year 2020, $715,000, interest rate 5%. And by the way, the true interest cost of this loan over the course of its lifespan is 2.004%. 2020, $705,000, 5% interest rate. 2022, $695,000, 5%. 2023, $695,000, 5%. 2024, $690,000, 5%. 2025, $690,000, 5%. 2026, $690,000, 5%. 2027, $595,000, 5%. 2028, $590,000, 5%. 2029, $545,000, 4%. Year 2030, $375,000, 2%. Year 2031, $375,000, 2%. 2032, $290,000, 2.125%. 2033, $290,000, 2.250 rate. 2034, $290,000, 2.375. Year 2035, $290,000, 2.50%. Year 2036, $290,000, 2.50. 2037, $290,000, 2.625. 2038, $285,000, 2.625. And 2039, $285,000, 2.750. And that's because some of these things have different lifespans of duration and amortization schedules. So that is that's the first vote that you will make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
it's unanimous.
Next one, further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of bonds, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated November 27, 2019, and a final official statement dated December 3rd, 2019, quote unquote, the official statement each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
Further voted that the bond shall be subject to redemption and at the option of the town upon such terms and conditions as are set forth in the official statement.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
Further voted that the town treasurer and the select board be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a continuing disclosure undertakings in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the bonds as applicable for the benefit of the holders of the bonds from time to time.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Further
It's
voted
unanimous.
that we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the town treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the bonds and to comply with the relevant securities laws.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
Further voted that each member of the select board, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
Okay, so that's the first thing.
Do you,
Okay. You ready?
right, did you want to read that for the clerk?
No, what happens is the clerk is just certifying that he's certifying that the votes were taken at the meeting. So he's going to be signing. I actually have this document for him to sign.
Okay.
The important thing was the votes and all that stuff.
Wonderful.
So before we get to that, the first thing that has to be done is, let's see, vote of the board. So these are the four things that Joe has to sign on the votes we just taken.
Color of pen matter?
A nice one?
Black.
Okay. Black.
Okay.
Use black, just in
How's
case.
that?
Okay.
State always wanted everything in black. I don't know why.
Right, so that's the first item that Michelle wants to have executed is the vote of the board by the clerk, and that's you, Joe.
Aye. Aye, clerky.
And there should be 4 originals there.
Absolutely.
Okay? Was this signed?
Yes.
Why did he sign this one?
Because
My boss told me to.
Because it was in the folder and I handed it to
Yeah,
him.
that was just, that's the placeholder for all this. Okay. Next item is number 2. These are the bonds in this, like I said, there's 20 separate bonds because this allows them to,
Sell them individually.
right, sell them individually per year at different face values. And that's what we just voted on.
Okay.
So who wants to start signing first?
I know.
Yeah, there's no stamping these.
Is it okay to fold them over, or?
Sure.
I'm just asking. Joe's got. Sign them all.
This is worse than a
You almost
closer.
done?
This is worse than a closer.
It's kinda like that's what this is.
We'll get to that in a while.
What did you do tonight? Oh, we signed papers all night long.
You know, you gotta be careful he doesn't just slip something else in here.
Bond counsel?
No, CAO council.
Well, I'm just checking for paper clips, just in case.
The last
After the
time-
massive paper
Right, in case
spill
it's-
of 2019.
Right, in case it's a trap.
That is true. That is an ongoing review about where the paper clips came from.
Check the security tape.
Yeah, I
And
checked
the DNA.
footage.
I think it was the school board.
You never know.
What'd that detective say? The most obvious answer is usually the correct answer.
Occam's razor, right? Never chalk up to malice that can be attributed to sheer stupidity, isn't that the other one?
That's another one.
That's another one.
A lot of great sayings out
That's
there.
right.
Well, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to open a history book. A lot of great
Oh, I'm
sayings.
fine. Sorry. I'll slow down.
Who's beeping?
I think it's Joe ringing.
Probably me. Oh, those Patriots, huh?
Speaking of checking the videotape,
Listen,
The Bengals.
yeah, really.
Yeah, I know. That's what they even said. Yeah, you caught us the Bengals.
How about the Giants snatching defeat from the jaws of victory last night, huh?
Yeah. And I shut it off. They weren't.
I didn't watch it
Who'd they
either.
beat?
They didn't.
No.
They were ahead.
They were
into
ahead
the
the night.
fourth.
and the Eagles
And
beat
lost to
them
the Eagles.
Eagles. Wow.
in overtime.
It was good to see
Was it
that.
overtime?
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
Okay.
that'd be 9 straight.
All right, next item is the signature of no litigation and official statement certificate to be signed by, let's see, the treasurer, the select board, and the town clerk, and sealed. There's 4 of those.
Only 4?
There you go.
The roof stop leaking?
It was fine. They're ready.
Find anything major? or
Cleaned the room, they patched it, they cleaned the floors, they took tiles.
Anything
And
major or just?
the roofer found a flashing issue that's got to be addressed, yeah. Wasn't the gutters, I thought it was the drainage. He thinks-
Right.
So he checked here too, and he'll be back to
Yeah.
make a little bit better repairs.
Who did we end up using for roofing?
Who they're looking at right now?
Yeah, I mean,
Titan, I think, right now.
Titan is the roofing
I think
company?
that's who.
Because the one we were
independent-
using closed up.
Yeah, yeah. And they were good. They had people that lived in town, so they were pretty reliable in terms of at least
We got
getting
leaks
to
at
this
the
thing.
rec center again, so I guess we're not gonna have much option since we're just gonna have to re-roof the whole thing.
Flat roof, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, that doesn't even have a slope.
Yeah, it does, it's pitched.
Oh, it is?
It is pitched, but, you know, the last leak was a pinhole, you know, and we've redone all the
Right.
edges.
The caulking, the seals, the grommets.
Everything's been redone, so it's just
They have
Yes,
Randy has the
pinholes-
same problem with the
pinholes in
DPW
in the
garage.
metal.
Turnkey.
I was kind of wondering if you know, that foam insulation they used years ago, you know, where you just spray it.
Okay, next item is the tax certificate. Okay, fax credit document. Okay, there's 4 of those.
That's it though, huh?
No, there's more.
I'm gonna listen to the tape tomorrow.
All right, good night, Hope.
All right, now we can do the exciting stuff.
I said I'm gonna listen
There, wow, look at that signature.
Okay, the next one is the continuing disclosure certificate. So this obviously means that you're going to make sure that you comply with all the SEC rules, and there's 4 of these. And we've been doing these for all the other outstanding bonds as we've been going along. But SEC certifications do, from time to time, their regulations change. And basically what that means is they double check to make sure that you have the sustained revenues over the course of time to meet your obligations of repayment.
Randy, how's that budget looking?
A lot of it last weekend.
Yeah.
About what, 86,000, right, Randy? Yeah, we got the report.
You did? Is it in here?
No, I just got it. I got it after the mail folders.
What the hell, man?
We didn't get it. We didn't get it. The higher ups got it, but we don't get it.
I can give you what the copy looks like.
Next time, I'll just call Randy.
We're gonna get it, we just didn't get it, but we're gonna get it.
Okay, so that's it. So Joe,
We're
you
done?
can go back to over
All
there.
right.
Yep, and we can go on to.
That's it?
Yep.
All right, we're going right on to A2, or 2A is from Mr. Lawler. It's concerning an alternate gas/plumbing inspector, Mr. Stanton J. Broska. He's recommended.
Right, that would allow you to have another local in-town qualified plumbing inspector.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So just sign it in the bottom.
I sat down with Mr. Broska, and basically with all this new construction going on, there's a lot more work. a lot
Than he
more
originally
permitting than he can really do by himself.
Than he thought.
So he was asked if we put another assistant on would help with the load.
Yep, that's exactly what the building
Yeah.
inspector told me.
Okay, 3A is Mr. Lawler's gas and plumbing permit fee schedule. For your review and approval, please find a proposed gas and plumbing fee schedule.
You'll see the left column says what
Okay,
current number
and
is.
then proposed.
Yep, he laid it all out.
And this puts us in the ballpark with the surrounding communities.
Yep, that's the way he,
Yep, Saturn on this too,
Recommending
if you don't mind, yeah. It pretty much does, and what the problem you're running into is you just can't get the inspectors to do the job because they're just not paying enough. In any of our fields, be it electrical, plumbing, and
right, because
And so
your
on.
inspectors make a percentage of the fee.
Right.
Okay, they don't make a flat fee, they make a percentage of the fee.
Right.
So if your fee is adjusted, then that, by
So
extension,
then
adjusts for
Art
that.
looked at the local other towns and communities and said that we're gonna have to bump it up to make this
Right,
continue to work.
unless you want to have paid employees. And
Right.
you've never,
And you
that's
don't
not
wanna
your,
do that.
usually your fee schedule covers, it covers them with all their own expenses, the use of their own vehicles, their
Right.
time and so forth.
Okay, discussion or a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're gonna sign this one.
Sure.
All right, letter from DPW Director Randy Brown. This is concerning the soon-to-be vacant heavy equipment operator position in the Highway Department due to Mr. Gerard's coming enrollment in the military. And he has one application for Mike Bryant.
And this is through the
current-
contract posting.
Right. So,
So it's a straightforward issue through the union contract.
right. So he's the only applicant, then he moves up, and then we'll have to post for a foreman of the DPW, correct?
For the highway. Right.
Transfer station.
And that was already done.
Okay. All right, motion,
So moved.
Yep, second that.
all in favor? Aye, we'll sign it.
So then after we fill the position there, then we post for an opening in the transfer station?
Yeah, it's still in that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's highly unlikely, you know, somebody could leave the highway division,
To
the
go-
water division, to go into this position, because
No,
Mike
no,
was a
no.
foreman.
Right.
So you still have to afford them the opportunity to move around.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, at the end of the day, we have a separate external posting already out there
Right.
for the new net body you're gonna need.
All
So
right.
that is underway too. And
All
I think,
right.
Cindy, what did you say? We got one candidate or something?
Yeah. Okay.
But it's open till filled.
And that would go into the transfer station anyways, that position, right?
If,
Well, well,
presumably it would.
Presumably, but that's where they all start.
Right, presumably.
Do they have to have a class B, Randy, or what do they, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, 5A, authorization to post
Yep.
vacancy at the transfer station.
confirm.
We're all
Yep.
done.
You were thinking that, wow.
You're good, you
Wow,
acknowledge
I
that.
tell
you're
you.
good.
You know,
Oh, what's in that water on that side of town?
6A, well, we have our own well one forever. 6A, from Chris Ferrier. This is
Items.
obsolete equipment.
Items to add on to our surplus sale.
All right, any problem with this motion?
And I think,
Second.
What is it, what is it? The roller? yeah.
now, Joe, I know at one point you want to
didn't
discuss
make
the
it.
grader.
Okay. Well,
That's not on here, but you do want to discuss it at some point, you said.
Yeah, we'll bring it up in another meeting.
Okay,
That's
second
great.
it?
I'll second it, yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Obsolete. All right, fire department ambulance 2019 rate review.
Right, I believe you adopted and that's in your general folder, you had made changes, so the chief sent you a clean copy in your general mail,
Okay,
okay, because you had already voted on it at your last meeting.
all right,
Right.
so this is just FYI. We've
Yeah, I don't
already-
know.
It's already been voted.
Right.
Okay. 8A is we have some additional Southwick Police Department policy for the police commission to review. Did we want to authorize that first batch?
No,
No.
these are the old ones to compare to the new ones that you gave.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right, you
Nothing
last,
personal, we wanted to review the old ones
Okay.
against the new ones.
You got it.
Right.
All right. So
and,
that's-
and they granted you an extension to do
There you
that,
go.
because they are the ones
Well,
that,
thank you.
okay.
Thank you, that was nice.
I thought, I looked at it
Well, strong
quickly and
chief
just thought
loves
he was giving us,
no,
Directed us,
no, the
thanks.
instructions I
Thank you.
got from last week was you wanted to, you
Yes,
wanted to have.
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Right, so Lieutenant Landis promptly had them sent over the next day.
okay, I have, okay, we did that. Motion to have the chair sign finance committee reserve request for town hall hot water heater replacement. So I need a motion.
So you want the background on them, and I
I think
think
we
showed
all-
it to Doug. I
you-
mean,
We've all been.
that's
we-
the Maya thing.
Right.
We have been awarded a $10,000 loss control grant by Maya, the full
Okay.
amount you can apply for,
Yep,
and that will be used in addition to this funds, because the estimates were about 15 to 16 for the water tank and some movement, relocation of some of the piping. That may go down because Art helped. We chose an engineer because he wanted to have an engineer look at the relocation of the piping to vent it to the outside directly and not through the furnace chamber.
okay.
So that's going to add some more money on. So that's why I'm not quite sure till I get my 3 quotes for the plumber. I already know what my estimate is for the engineer. So it might not be, it may only be 7,000 over the 10,000 grant. So it may only be 17. But I want to make sure that over the next couple of weeks, while we're not meeting, that the board has given one of its members through the chairman the latitude to approve the FinCom reserve
Yada,
request
yada,
for this
yada.
amount, because the chairman of that board knows it's coming.
Motion to vent this to the CAO's office.
And I'll second that,
Okay.
and any other things that need to happen in the next 2 weeks that we are not meeting for.
Well, that's why we
That,
also put in here, right,
that
that we
whatever
can
you
bring-
need to
we
do.
can ratify them and
Motion
bring them back.
for the chair to sign a FinCom reserve request for town hall water heater.
And anything else that may come up in the next 2 weeks.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Okay. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Authorize the chair and CAO to handle temporary seasonal appointments of various departments.
So moved.
Huh. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, now, we keep saying we're not meeting. I thought we had a meeting
You have a meeting next week.
next
That's
week.
a consent
Okay,
agenda.
okay,
It's a
But I'm
consent
still-
agenda next week?
In all likelihood, it will be.
okay.
See you guys.
Aye.
Good night, Randy.
You know,
All right, old business, Fire Association Holiday Gathering,
Monday.
Monday.
yeah, I don't know why this is 12/9.
No, that's wrong, it's 12.
It's going to be 12/16, I
12.
believe.
Yeah, it's 7
12,
days from the
16.
9th.
So Sandra, make a note that it's 12/16.
Okay. Just for discussion, we have a 250 meeting. So we might have to work on that. But Doug, you're available to go.
What, the gathering? Oh, I'll go.
You're going,
Yeah.
Doug's going. And I'll see if,
I may be at the ski lodge, I don't know yet, we're still going round and
Okay.
round for opening day.
so I'll probably have to go to the 250 if you're, you know,
Yeah.
and make sure that, you know, then maybe just come over afterwards.
Yeah.
Right,
You
that's
know.
fine.
Okay,
What time is that meeting?
6:30.
Well, you could just start at this one at 6 and then go to the other one at 6:30. but-
Yeah.
You boys will figure it out.
We'll
Continue
figure
on,
it
sir.
out. Okay, holiday gathering for town hall staff, volunteers, and family, 12:20, 5 to 7. I think
Sandra, where do we stand
you
with
were
the
put in
the
charge of
restaurants?
that.
Yeah,
With the what?
we'll get through it.
I've
Okay.
started to contact them.
You did,
Sandra's been
did such a-
Sandra's been contacting the
all
restaurants.
right, and Mr. Didi did a wonderful job with the Southwick Civic Fund with the program here Saturday. So I know this is going to be especially good.
Well, I
this
would not
year.
associate them both as the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Why were
See,
you asking, besides the food coming that you guys run around, what are you asking them to
No,
do?
nothing,
No,
he's
no.
just, we set the level so high
It was
Right.
Saturday,
Incredible event.
now he's expecting everything to be that good.
right, I mean,
Okay,
that,
but with the floor plans and the mapping I saw a lot of detail.
other than
stuff.
not having an emergency kit
Yeah,
for a cut finger.
We've already ordered one.
Did you?
For the
Thank
office,
God.
yes.
Put it on the wall
Yep.
where I can find it.
Well,
The go
there's one in
bag
the
right
go
there.
bag.
Yeah, I know
goes
there's
that
Band-Aids in that,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
we
mean,
will.
you know,
There are.
other than that, everything was perfect. COA holiday gathering, 12/18, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yep.
Wednesday.
Okay,
Did you guys RSVP? I know.
Yes.
I think you two and me, right? I don't think you. are.
I can't.
Right, so I
can't.
think she knows that. I think
Right.
that
I'm,
she knows
she's
that.
getting the poinsettias. I'm doing my part.
And by the way, that's because Roy Benson usually would go and handle that. And he has been informed when we went and visited him that that was going to be done at his behest.
There you go.
all right.
Okay. Director of Board of Health, recruitment update.
Sure. I was notified last Friday by the chairman of the Board of Health that they had conducted the interviews last Tuesday. They had a meeting on Thursday. They deliberated their choices and they settled on an offer of employment for Tammy Spencer, who was the assistant in Chicopee. So after that was done, I ended up getting a phone call from her, and she came in to see me on Monday. She has a physical tomorrow, the pre-employment physical in the offer. She worked with Cindy and Robin to do the query, and so this is all public information. And once that's done, we will go forward with negotiating a letter of understanding next week with the chairman, myself and her.
Okay.
So there's your
Now-
update. And we hope to have her on beginning after New Year's.
And Tommy, is,
Tommy is still gonna be around to help transition and train the person.
Okay. When did Tommy actually retire?
November 1st.
November 1st.
Right.
So he's been, okay.
Subcontractor. whatever you call it,
Subcontracted.
Yeah.
Well, he's really like, he's still an employee, because I got the county retirement board authorization to allow him to.
Allow him to
Oh, okay.
continue.
Right.
Okay.
So
Gotcha,
I
gotcha.
did petition the retirement
All right,
board. Hey, he's not getting, he's not putting any more money in his retirement plan or anything like
Right.
that.
No.
That's how that works.
But, okay. So we still have him, so we have a smooth transition. I'm
Right,
sure,
well,
sure that's what our Board of Health
The,
wants.
the
to-
chairman of the Board of Health was just concerned about the dollar amount in terms of needing to make sure there was gonna be money for the other individual, and when I explained to him that the select board and the finance committee had talked about the issue and added 9 more hours on in terms of the posting, that there was already going to be a pool of dollars that you were gonna have to make up the difference, and that now wasn't the time to not have Tommy there to give her at least a week or 2 of transition training.
Okay,
So that made the chairman comfortable.
right. I would like to bring up once again, because this position is going to be a full-time position
Yes.
now, correct?
Yes.
This person is
37 and a half
new
hours.
to our community.
Yeah.
I really think.
She was an intern here 14
Right.
years
I
ago.
really think that this person should be driving a vehicle with a town seal on it. You know, I mean, we.
Okay, well, just Tommy, we got him magnetized things, right? Didn't we get magnetized things at one
There
time?
was some on there.
Tommy drove his own personal vehicle and he was compensated for
Well,
his.
that's, I believe I believe the Board of Health is probably gonna be looking at the same
Same
thing
thing.
with an auto allowance, yeah.
Right, well,
And they will,
what I'm saying is, I think since we're going to be negotiating out a salary, you know, that we should seriously consider, I think it'd be best for this employee, you know, that they are driving a vehicle with a town seal on it.
you mean a town vehicle or just a magnetized
A
one?
town vehicle.
Well, the issue there is you don't have the money for one right now.
I realize
I mean,
that.
long-term, we could go get her.
Right, right.
person.
So what I'm saying is, when we're negotiating this,
Right.
that this might be a consideration that would be reflected in the salary.
Well, as a general rule, I think what you usually do is you state that the person would either be provided a vehicle, a town vehicle, or that they would be given an auto allowance. It's one or the other, so that gives you the flexibility to move back and forth. So you could start out, if you didn't have a town vehicle, doing an auto allowance, and then when you were able to secure
Right.
a vehicle from another location, then you could assign that to the person.
Right. And I'm talking about a vehicle that would remain in Southwick, you know.
Right, they would use that in South, they would commute to work.
Correct.
And they would use it, right, but right now you don't have one, because you're not gonna have another one till next year, because the police already gave us the pool car replacement.
What about one of the pool cars?
Those are booked all the time.
All the time, they're booked.
Yeah, I mean, well, not all the time, but the thing is if you end
You
up
need
having.
to.
Okay.
How many do we
If-
have
if-
right now?
we have 2.
Two.
Right, so if you end up having a conflict, then those pool cars won't be available for the other department heads and other people to go do their stuff, because they're gonna be out. It was one thing when Tommy was just here a few days a week, but if you have somebody who's there 5 days a week, you're essentially just assigning it to them the whole time. Your pool car is gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
so that's not an option at
Well, no,
this time.
if you wanna get down to one pool car, then you could do that, but then that's it. You know? But.
All right, I threw it out there, just
Yeah.
so that we could.
Well, I
discuss it.
figured at some point the police will be coming forward with additional vehicles that they're gonna be giving us, and we could use one of those. I can tell you that the interceptors, with, Arthur had to put a lot of money in to keep the one he's got going
They're
now.
junks.
And that's going to be the next building inspector's vehicle. Randy's, the engine was gonna be thousands of repair, so that's why you gave him an auto allowance. So there's this balance of trying to make sure that when people go out to a site, that people
So at
know who
budget
they
season,
are.
maybe we look at a used vehicle of some kind that would fit as not a huge dollar piece.
Right,
Right.
But a comfortable.
And you do one thing, what you do with that is you either
Then
take,
assign that
you
to
either
the-
take the green car
Right.
and repurpose that over here and then put that other car into the pool.
Right.
Or you just leave it vice versa.
Right.
Because-
Okay, I just,
Yeah.
I just want it out there because I really think that,
Oh, look, I don't have an issue with that. You just need to figure out how do you get there.
okay.
I attended
And that's
the
why
meeting.
you want to make sure that you word the letter of understanding that allows you to go back and forth.
Bingo.
And that's what
Yes.
I am doing.
Bingo, thank you. Thank you, that's what I was getting at.
I went to their meeting. Not that they had their interviews over here.
Yeah,
But the following, a couple days later, they had their meeting. I went to it.
yeah.
It went smooth. I talked to them at quite a bit of length in regards to procedures and whatnot. And I don't know much, of course, but I knew a little bit. And that was actually brought up too.
Okay.
The whole, I brought it up as a person, just saying, how's that work? So at that point in time, they weren't interested in giving anyone a vehicle per se. They were just happy with the allowance. But I think I did catch their ear enough to say, I think you got to look at that. So I think it's there, like Carl said, and I kept stressing, Mr. Steinhardt is the gentleman that needs to help wrap this package. I know you guys are in charge of your people. I know you're elected. I know we can't tell you what to do, but that guy is the guy that's going to mold this.
Right.
So they did get that. I did get that cross because he did come see you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it, and everything worked
No,
out
no,
well,
yeah,
and
'cause-
we're well on our way to addressing the issues.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we have a full-time building inspector,
Nope.
drives police drive, fire, everybody, so it's a known entity. This
No,
is
it
a
does
town
sound-
official.
Yes.
And I think we need to keep that professionalism out there.
Not an
Yeah,
issue.
we
We
need to
just need to
separate.
need to figure out how we're going to graduate to that change.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. I'll get off the soapbox.
That's fine.
All right. Any other old business?
Let's see. Yes, Mr. Chairman. The old library was sold today. The closing was 10 o'clock.
I owe you $1.
There's a key.
January 1st was right around the corner.
So the key is being turned over to him,
Yes.
Mr. Tynick.
Yes.
And the check and the proceeds and everything was being overnighted to me, so I should have it tomorrow. So I've
Well,
notified.
now we don't need to float the bond.
No. Yeah, we're all set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
I thought we were going
We're
to use
so
that money
close.
for the office party.
so we're in the process of doing all the follow-up actions, which include notifying Maya that we can take the building off the insurance, that we don't need vacant insurance, and that I want the premium returned to me. That I think I can get 2/4 of it.
That's
That's
the
the
office.
There's no snow and ice. The alarm company notification was made today to take the alarm off. We notified the police, the fire, the building inspector about that it's a private structure now. We notified the clerk's office has already.
Did you notify the most important office?
The assessors.
Bingo.
Yeah. The assessor's office got the deed electronically today.
All right.
So yes, no, we
Tax bill went
have.
out.
So, but
Before
I have.
January 1st.
Yeah.
I have to follow up with the documents from town council
Yes.
to satisfy their records to put it on
Okay.
the tax roll.
All right.
So,
okay.
so I just wanted to share with you, there are a series of actions that are underway now to help us finish, the transition.
I think that's going to be a win-win for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I even notified the chairman of the Historical Commission.
I think it's a win
To
for
let
the
him
inside.
know.
Absolutely.
I think
All joking aside, this was a long time coming. To get
It was
this
almost
finally
3 years.
done. Felt longer.
right.
Yep. Okay, so that's going on. And then another item under old business is the preliminary screening committee that you appointed is going to start its meeting tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Are you bringing
the building
donuts? Or?
No, it's the chairman's job to bring the donuts.
There's no chairman, there has not been an organization of the
The
meeting yet.
chairman-elect
Elect.
in waiting.
So be careful, you're not going to be there on time.
That's what, I put you on notice for that already, sir.
So that was, those were my, let's see. The other things are new business. Okay.
Okay.
But wait, there's more. New business?
Yeah, but any.
No, I have none.
No, we're good.
Okay. New business.
New business, obviously. I also have in your your mail folders, I've given you the selectmen's goals and objectives, and I've made some handwritten edits and revisions.
Great, we'll look at
I-
that.
And I'd just like you to review them to see if next week what you would like to add to them, and we could at least update that next week during our short meeting.
Yep.
Okay, that's one thing. Next item is, last week when I couldn't be with you, it wasn't because of anything other than town business. I sat on an interview panel with the fire command staff, with the deputy. Rick did a great job chairing and facilitating the group and brought in outside people too, as well as inside. And we interviewed 5 candidates for career full-time EMT. We are going to be delivering a pool of 4 candidates to you for the 2 openings. We did have another person who had a good background, but they couldn't make it last week, and we also extended an offer to meet with that person last evening, and they still weren't going to be able to come.
Okay. What's the timetable?
Well, we'd be looking at sometime in January
To do the
interviews
Okay.
before the fire commission.
Okay. Any other new business?
Yes. I am going to be sitting in on a panel on December 18th with the police command staff, the lieutenant and the chief, for interviewing reserve officers. And you will then be sent a pool of candidates for the reserve officer openings.
Wonderful.
And how big of a pool do you imagine?
Well, I think they were looking at, they might have interviewed 8. I'm not sure how many are coming to us. I think probably 5 or 6 we're going to interview, and then you'll probably get 3 or 4 of those.
You got it. And what's the timetable on that?
Well-
In January also?
Yeah, those will be January too.
Okay. All right. Any other new business?
Yes.
You keep asking him, and he's gonna keep going. Just say, that's it.
The snow storm that we had yesterday, or the other day, which was
Oh, let me guess.
2+ days, yeah.
86,000.
86,000. 16,000 in overtime. We have 30,000 budgeted, so we got 14,000 left there. Contracted plows, 600 hours, $53,030. We had 40,000 budgeted. We're 13 in the hole there. And then, of course, salt. You already gave the approval for the deficit spending of 67,000, but we had 60 in the account. So when we used about $17,000 worth of salt on that.
So bottom line is, there's going to be a lot of happy people for Christmas.
Yeah. They get
So-
the checks in time.
So that's all I have for old or new business.
New business? New business?
I can't top that.
Okay. Just once again, I want to say what a great event Saturday was, and I congratulate
That's
Mr.
pretty
Didi and his family. They did a lot of hard work. The Southwick Civic Fund, it was tremendous for our.
Bring that up?
I wanted to take it home.
Do we need
Oh.
to have an executive session?
No.
All right. Then,
So he's taking that home now?
right. Motion to
Just tell me,
adjourn.
we can have a hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I did want to,
We had our